How's it going, everyone? Reckless Yuki here, and welcome to my beautiful desktop of the Golden Temple in Kyoto, Japan. I did not take this picture, but I found it on the internet, and it was 4K, so I decided to throw it on my 4K monitor so I'll have something pretty to look at when I'm going around doing production work on my new build. And if you're curious about this build that I did, all the specs of the major hitting components that will affect this video will be here on the left. And if you're further interested in this PC, I have two links to two different videos in the description below. One will be kind of like a mediocre build guide. It was the first time I ever built a PC on camera, so hopefully that's not too horrendous for you guys. And as well as I have another video of me talking about each part and why I picked each and every component. So those two are there for your enjoyment if you are curious. Now, in today's video, what I like to do is basically go over the capabilities of the components I had on the left, as far as how well are they able to play in 4K, as well as record in 4K, because I look around YouTube and I see plenty of videos of people showcasing 4K footage. Everyone's saying that they're doing 4K at the max settings, and I'm kind of in disbelief that some of those videos are true, because with the settings or with the specs that I was able to, push with this computer, I wasn't able to adequately record, I feel, in the highest quality, especially with the components that I picked. So that's what we'll be going over in this video. Is basically I was playing Far Cry 4 and I set it to some really high settings, decently tough, and it was able to play the game in 4K at about 60 frames per second. It was playable, but sometimes it will drop down to the low 40s, high 30s at times, but then it'll speed back up depending on like where I was in the game. So I felt that gaming in 4K at some really high resolutions is more than capable of doing it. But then when it comes to recording that footage at 4K, it really struggles to do that. And I chose two different programs to use today. One is going to be the ShadowPlay, which is still in beta. It's not completely done, but I feel that this is the least taxing on a computer, especially if you're using you can only use this if you have the newer NVIDIA GTX. But I have the GTX 980, and the 980 and the 970 are capable of recording at 4K. So for this, what I'm doing right now is recording with ShadowPlay because it's pretty easy and not very taxing. And so for the videos that I showed, or that I'm going to show you, I basically did it at 4K resolution, 30 frames per second at 50 megabits per second in H.264 is how ShadowPlay recorded. Then I also use Dxtory, because Dxtory is another popular program that is used to record footage for PC. So here is Dxtory. I did purchase it, so it's not some sort of rip-off copy. And just going over the settings to kind of show you exactly what I did. A lot of this is kept, just at default, so I know what kind of frames per second I'm getting, and then what the right frames per second is, so I know how bad the recording is sucking. And this is the hard drive that I'm writing to. This is not my actual system drive by any means. This is where it's just basically two 7200 RPM hard disk drives that are in RAID 0 that allows me to try to record as fast as I can. They're basically my media dump drives where I just record to and edit off of, but they don't contain any programs that I actually run the system. So I'm able to get 316 megabytes per second, but I lowered it down to 300 just to kind of, be a little bit safe. But this is more than enough room, or more than enough speed to record high quality footage, I feel, because a lot of the other videos I've seen on YouTube as far as Dxtory, I definitely didn't come up with these settings. I copied these from a YouTuber named Jack Frags, and his settings were about 100 and something. At least that's the hard drive he showed when he showed off these settings. And this was video was like a little while ago, so I'm not sure if he changed that or not, but this is kind of like what I followed his guide. As far as my mapping key, none of this is really applicable. This is the main thing as far as Dxtory. So I use default settings, but then I use this Alagorith lossless codec, which was recommended by him, as well as I believe PC Gamer. They also do a lot of 4K recordings, which I believe their system is definitely capable of doing it, because it has like, I think 3 or 4 GTX Titans. Even though the Titan isn't the best for gaming, I think it might actually be very useful for something like this, or this application of recording 4K footage. But anyways, so I have that, and I made sure to click use multi-threading because my processor is a beast, and I definitely use this mode, which was recommended as far as having some decent quality with the least impact and the smaller files. So with that set, I was able to record at different resolutions by changing the width and height by pixels as far as the recorder, to make sure that I was able to play the game at different resolutions, record different resolutions to see how exactly everything looked on YouTube once everything is uploaded. So those are my video settings. Audio settings don't really matter. I wasn't really too concerned with this. Main focus was on video. And I don't care about screenshots. This is very important. So down here where it says processing threads, I put it down to 12, which is the maximum I'm able to select. My processor is technically a 16 thread processor, but I think 12 is more than enough for what I was trying to do. But it actually turned out not to be the case. And you'll see the video in just a second. And nothing really there. So that's basically it. I don't think there's anything here that yeah, so that's basically as far as my Dxtory. And as far as when I change settings here, I basically had to go to quality and change it from 2160 down to 1440p, then down to 1080. But all these videos were at 30 frames per second at 50 megabits per second. The 1440 and 1080 are maxed out at 50 with this program, but if you do 2160 4K resolution, you are able to go all the way up to 130. And I would be able to show you the drop down, but I'm using this to record my desktop right now, so I can't really change or do very much with it. But it's very simple, so there's not much to show you. So anyways, that's it as far as my recording. That's it as far as my PC specs. Now let's go into the settings I recorded, or at least I played Far Cry 4 at. So just a second. All right, so this is the main screen of Far Cry 4. If we go down here to settings, we'll go here to video, and then as far as how I change the display resolution, I basically just click this to the left or right to change it between 4K, 1440p, as well as 1080 when I was doing the various testings. But as far as the quality of the graphics, I didn't change any of that. So here were the quality settings that I was recording and playing in. So I had motion blur set to off, textures to high, shadows to soft shadows, because shadows are just an absolute monster when it comes to trying to do that with the GPUs. And then a lot of these settings were on ultra. So I definitely had some really high settings going on when I was recording and playing this game. And playing this game at 4K with these settings was very doable. It just kind of slowed down a bit during some intense moments, but I didn't feel that I was being robbed very much as far as playing. Now, if I was going to play a very competitive game like Call of Duty, I definitely would turn down the settings, because I felt that the bit of lag that I felt with this game would not be suitable for a competitive first-person shooter. But for this, just playing in a single-player mode, it was completely fine, and I was able to play it and record it in the following videos that you guys will be able to see. But these were the settings that I played and recorded at once again. Now, as far as what you guys are about to watch, this whole video, I basically took all these clips that I already pre-recorded, and I looked through each one of them just to see the differences, and you could definitely tell the kind of drop in frames when it comes to Dxtory compared to ShadowPlay. Dxtory is a lot more taxing system, but I think Dxtory is able to look a little bit better, at least what I was able to see on my desktop here, because I went through each video and I rendered it already just to kind of see how things were looking, just to kind of have a pretty good idea as far as what to expect. And so that's this video here. If we go to the properties of it, you'll see that I already rendered it out, and it's at 2160 by 3480. So it's in 4K at 50 megabits was the bitrate that I encoded it as. And this definitely took a good while, 4 gigabytes for a 12.5-minute video of just this gameplay of this single clip. Just basically going, not the same clip, but I try to record the same kind of layout as far as where I was walking, just to kind of make sure everything was kind of a unison. And as far as having that as being a control, I walked through this little town that was at the very beginning of the game, but I feel it was a good point to kind of see different effects like sun rays coming through and smoke. And then I was able to kind of go around and then start running to see if that would affect how the recorder was able to record. Now, as far as gameplay, 4K gameplay while recorded at 4K was very tough. I feel that was definitely undoable, especially with Dxtory. Dxtory just looked horrendous, and it played horrendously. As far as ShadowPlay was able to kind of keep up, but I feel that I definitely wouldn't play like that. I'll probably stick to maybe 1440p. But anyways, one thing I like to do in this video, or at least implore you guys to do, is to kind of look through this video the next 12.5 minutes of just kind of how things were recorded, and see if you can change the settings to see the difference between 4K 1440p and 1080p. I'll be doing the same after this video is uploaded, just to see if it is noticeably different, basically noticeably different on YouTube, and then to kind of figure out how I'm going to further or future record my videos, if I'm actually going to try to pursue 4K, or if I'm just going to do 1440p and upscale it to 4K to kind of get the extra bit rate, depending on if I see any difference or not. So anyways, that's it for the video, guys. That's it for my portion as far as me rambling. Now we're just going to get into the actual, all the meat of this. And in the comments below, I'd like to see what you guys think. Definitely let me know if you found this interesting, or if it's just absolutely boring, which this part is really boring, but I thought it'll just be a good video to benefit myself, as well as kind of show people the differences between 4K 1440p and 1080p. But anyways, that's enough for me. I'll stop rambling. Let's get into all this, all right? Have a good one, guys. Bye-bye.
There is new blood in the golden path. This is why we will prevail. You are leaving the mistakes of the past behind.
एकदम ठीक मुझे मेरो अनुहारमा ज्यादै ठुलो मुस्कान ल्याए यसले मेरो मन हलुङ्गो भयो
There is new blood in the golden path. This is why we will prevail. You are leaving the mistakes of the past behind.
मुस्कुराए यो दुःखको कुरा हो तर म यसरी नमुस्कुराएको धेरै भएको थियो
There is new blood in the golden path. This is why we will prevail. You are leaving the mistakes of the past behind.
यो दुःखको कुरा हो तर म यसरी नमुस्कुराएको धेरै भएको थियो
There is new blood in the golden path. This is why we will prevail. You are leaving the mistakes of the past behind.
मुझे मेरो अनुहारमा ज्यादै ठुलो मुस्कान ल्याए यसले मेरो मन हलुङ्गो भयो
There is new blood in the golden path. This is why we will prevail. You are leaving the mistakes of the past behind.
यसले मेरो मन हलुङ्गो भयो
There is new blood in the golden path. This is why we will prevail. You are leaving the mistakes of the past behind.
यो दुःखको कुरा हो तर म यसरी नमुस्कुराएको धेरै भएको थियो
There is new blood in the golden path. This is why we will prevail. You are leaving the mistakes of the past behind.
म मुस्कुराएँ यो दुःखको कुरा हो तर म यसरी नमुस्कुराएको धेरै भएको थियो
There is new blood in the golden path. This is why we will prevail. You are leaving the mistakes of the past behind.
म मुस्कुराएँ यो दुःखको कुरा हो तर म यसरी नमुस्कुराएको धेरै भएको थियो
There is new blood in
हामीले
the
रोपेको
golden
धान
path.
साँच्ची नै
This is why we will
कति राम्रो
prevail.
एकदमै राम्रो हुँदैछ
You are leaving the mistakes of the past behind. There is new blood in the golden path. This is why we will prevail. You are leaving the mistakes of the past behind.
धेरै भएको थियो
There is new blood in the golden path. This is why we will prevail. You are leaving the mistakes of the past behind.
तर म यसरी नमुस्कुराएको धेरै भएको थियो
There is new blood in the golden path. This is why we will prevail. You are leaving the mistakes of the past behind.
यसले मेरो मन हल्लुङो भयो
There is new blood in the golden path. This is why we will prevail. You're leaving the mistakes of the past behind.
तरामा यसरी नमुस्कुराएको धेरै भएको थियो
There is new blood in the golden path. This is why we will prevail. You are leaving the mistakes of the past behind.
तरामा यसरी नमुस्कुराएको धेरै भएको थियो
There is new blood in the golden path. This is why we will prevail. You are leaving the mistakes of the past behind.
धेरै भएको थियो
There is new blood in the golden path. This is why we will prevail. You are leaving the mistakes of the past behind.
मेरो अनुहारमा झ्याकै ठुलो मुस्कान आयो। यसले मेरो मन हलुङ्गो भयो
There is new blood in the golden path. This is why we will prevail. You are leaving the mistakes of the past behind.
धेरै भएको थियो
There is new blood in the golden path. This is why we will prevail. You are leaving the mistakes of the past behind.
मेरो अनुहारमा झ्याकै ठुलो मुस्कान आयो। यसले मेरो मन हलुङ्गो भयो